I think the first one is going to be beloved Ken and Jenny. Is my recollection correct?
No.
No?
That's okay.
That's okay?
We can move it up. We can do them all in order.
Just 2 minutes.
Okay, all right. But as you can see, I just got here. So. I'll warm up again. So, thank you all for coming. This is a special call meeting of the Duncanville Community and Economic Development Corporation. Today is September 8th, 2025. And it is called to order at 6:01. We appear to have a quorum so that we can proceed with business printed. And so the first thing on the agenda is the invocation, the pledge of allegiance. I'll do the invocation, and Mr. Goff do the pledge of allegiance to the U.S. and the Texas flag. So with that, we stand. Shall with me in prayer, that God, I have been thought of you, and we magnify your name. You are holy, holy, and heaven and earth is full of your glory. We're thankful for the opportunity that you have given us, even though we did not deserve it, to have this opportunity to serve this wonderful community of Duncanville City Champions. And as we come together to do the business that you've called us to do, we ask in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, that you would lead, guide, direct us, may our decisions honor you and better this city. For this we ask in Jesus' name, and for his sake we pray. Amen.
Okay, together, pledge of the United States.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next, the Texas pledge.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, everyone. You can be seated.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and do 1, 2, 3.
All right. Okay, so we will start with public hearings, and we're on agenda item 4A. And we will open the public hearing at 6:04 p.m. And this is item 4A, conduct a public hearing to discuss resolution 2025-830, approving a signed grant funding request to take out burger and to authorize the president to execute the necessary documents.
Good evening again, Marlon Goff, Assistant Director, Economic Development. As agenda captured noted, this item is a resolution for this public hearing to consider a sign grant. The business applicant is Takeout Burgers. Their address is 795 West Wheatland. We'll see here proximity map. It's the Village Shopping Center at the intersection of South Cedar Ridge and West Wheatland Road. Okay, since this is the signage grant, just a quick preview of what the signage situation is at the Village Shopping Center. Right, so on the left, we've got the pole or shopping center monument signs as you're traveling north and south on Cedar Ridge, and then east and west on Wheatland. And then to the right, we actually have monument facade signs. Right at the top, we see the existing sign for Takeout Burgers. In the back, if you were entering the shopping center from South Cedar Ridge, this is what you would see for that particular strip center building. That's part of that Village Shopping Center. This was example, some photos I just took with my phone during a recent visit to the restaurant. So we can see inside, we'll have what I call our Legends mural wall. It's pretty cool. I'm sure you'll recognize a lot of the faces if you had the chance to visit their store. Okay, let's take a quick recap of the history with that. So this board the DCEDC, actually was presented with the grant and approved an award back in 2020, right? City Council, as well as the Sign Control Board, also approved a variance. As it stands, our zoning ordinance doesn't allow for a sign to be placed in the rear of a commercial establishment, right? And so to do something like that, you need to obtain a variance. That's heard before the Zoning Control Board and then ratified by City Council, right? So these actions happen, but prior to the installation of the sign, the business was sold, right? And so put a pause on that grant award. In fact, actually voided that grant. The business is still operating though as Takeout Burgers. Same location, same brand, right? Same good food and service from what I understand. And I agree, it's really good, right? I would like to eat. And so we received an application from the current business owner, right? For the same grant to be placed in the same location. And so therefore, we're bringing this application back before this board for consideration, right? Noted the original ratification of the variance. Our understanding is the owner is prepared to install based on those specifications that were approved in that ordinance. Okay, policy considerations, right? This board and the City Council just recently adopted several changes and modifications to our design incentive grant policy, right? So if we look at one part of the requirement is that the applicant get multiple votes, preferably 3 or more, right? So we have those represented in the table. As it relates to the current policy, however, that was adopted just this month, the maximum reimbursement percentage, right, for any design incentive grant is a 50-50 participation by the DCEDC and the applicant or the parties. And then that maximum amount is capped, $5,000, right? So we'll keep that in mind as we go to our last slide. Here in the staff report, we just laid out some considerations and some options for this board, right, to consider as part of this request. We can approve the grant request based on the current policy that was recently adopted. We can approve the grant request in the amount based on the ask for the applicant. And then the last is somewhere in between at an amount that this board, based on this discretion, seems worthy. Before I pause, I'll admit that the representative from Takeout Burgers here is Shelley Warner. She's the business owner. And I would assume she's available to answer any questions if there are any in support of this ask. But for staff, we're prepared to stand for any questions that there might be.
Okay, so here's what we like to do. We're gonna open it up to the board for questions, but before we do that, is there anyone present here tonight that would like to speak for or against this particular item? And if you would like to have the opportunity to speak, you will come up and state your name and address for the record. And the limit will be 2 minutes to speak. So is there anyone here this evening that would like to speak for or against this one?
President Harvey, I will add to the record that there was a public comment received for this item in support by Mr. Barry Gordon at 17 Crescent Lane.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, board. My name is Shelley Warner. I'm the owner of Takeout Burgers along with my daughter, Lovely. And the reason I asked for 100% for it to be funded is because I applied before the 50% or the $5,000 max. So I'd like you to also know that my application came in before you changed to the max. So we have been working on it. I have been working on it collectively with the EDC, with the assistant director, and with the director, and was told that we could or would move forward with my application based on the previous rules and regulation policies and procedures. I'd also like you to know is I've had this business for a year a year and 4 months. We are actively participating in Duncanville. We love it here at Duncanville. The only problem I am having, or one of the main problems is, can you go back one more? Right here? When people come through here after talking with the roads division, we're almost entering this establishment or the mall from the back and from the front. So I'm missing that business. We get calls all the time. Where are you? Hey, I'm in the parking lot. Where are you? No one can see us. And I really think if we just had a sign on the back of that building, coupled with the fact that there's already a variance on it, people would be able to see us. We could thrive. We can make more money. We can pay more taxes. Okay, which Duncanville would like. Okay. But I just want you to know why we're asking, why we suggested, we got the 3 quotes, and why we're asking for 100%. First and foremost, it was before the new rules and regulations. Second, third, and fourth, it would just establish us more as an entity in Duncanville where we can be seen.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Board Member Harvey, pardon the interruption, we have another, request for public comment.
okay.
I'm not actually here for this, I'm actually with Redbird Skyline, we're on the agenda too, but what she's saying is very pertinent to what we're talking about too, because the fact these businesses inside Duncanville, taxes obviously are great, but just helping the Duncanville people in the community, putting a sign there makes perfectly logical sense to me. My building doesn't reflect anything like that. I mean, we've got signage, that's not a problem, we've been 53 years, but I understand what she's been through. I've been to her establishment, it is very good, by the way. And you just need all the opportunity you can to bring in customers. As you all know, if you've ever done anything, I'm sure that you people from Kid Virginia understand. And while you're underneath my 2 minutes, I think what they're doing is fantastic too. That mall over there, to do something like that in the old building is fantastic. And it's a good thing for Duncanville. I mean, it's nothing about the people that are already here, but we need to attract more people to come in this businesses here and do stuff with us. So we don't have to travel outside these city limits if we don't want to. I mean, I've been at the skating rink for 53 years, and I mean, it doesn't look like it, but I run out of places that I want to go eat. It's like I eat the same places every single day, you know, or you shouldn't anyway. But anyway, it's just nice to have the options, and I think that was probably true for a lot of the community would feel the same way. I just wanted to say that. I'm not really here for that, but and good luck to y'all. I'll work out.
Thank you.
Oh, my name is Gil Hudson with Redbird Skyland at 1206 North Duncanville Road.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You see?
And he was first.
Okay, go ahead.
We go up there.
Your voice carries just wherever you feel.
I'm Barry Gordon, 1751 Crescent Lane. And Mr. President, distinguished members of the DCEDC board, I strongly support Shelley Warner, the applicant for this sign. We know, if you look at the chronology in the past, we as a council knew at that point it was necessary, it has merit, and for what she's asking for, the maximum for $7,036, I believe has merit as well, retroactively prior to what was just approved last month. So I strongly support this resolution.
Well, I'm impressed. Okay. Yes.
Patricia Ebert, 115 South Greenstone, and Mr. Hudson said what I was going to say much better, so I'm going to skip to the second part of what I was going to say. I'm the one that passed out the handouts to y'all, and that's the second part. He says we need local. We need local. But, and one of the visions for the DCED, for economic development and DCEDC for next budget year is to become a rump hub. But our Senior Citizen Center, this is just a snapshot of a calendar for 1 month, August of 2025, and this whole handout is an email that I sent to the mid-August, so you'd see I didn't take this out of context. But we use city buses that 5 times a month minimum. We send our seniors on buses to go eat outside of our limits. And for those of you streaming or watching, just real quickly, in the month of August, they went 47 to 56 miles one way to go to Terrell. 27, I GPS this, 27 to 31 miles one way to Alvarado. 15 to 16 miles one way to go to Arlington, then the mystery lunch, don't know, and then 14 to 16 miles one way to go to Red Oak. Just as Mr. Hudson said, much better than I can say. We need opportunities here in Duncanville, and on that mural, you saw Coach Samples. You also saw Flo, who the Duncanville High Library has been named after in the last 2 or 3 years. And we need, and also I have a neighbor who told me that their fries at Takeout Burger are the best in Texas. We need Takeout Burger.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm actually here for imaging, but, we would not.
Oh, name and address.
Susan Corey, 614 South Alexander Avenue, here in Duncanville.
Okay.
When Tracy and Rohit started taking over Kim and Jenny's, we did not know about Takeout Burger. Unless you are really looking for it, you're not gonna see it. And a sign would help say, hey, there's a place to eat there. Because if it hadn't been for Ro and Tracy, we would not have known about them. And they do have good burgers, they have chicken wings. Oh, and funnel sticks, yeah. But I think that they need a sign. They need something to say, hey, here we are.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Anyone else? Okay. At this time, I will ask my fellow members of the board if they have any questions for the applicant or for staff concerning this initiative. All right.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
So I had a question about the variance. Does it last forever? Cause I thought variances were specific, so did they need to do to the application? I don't know if that's a you question or an attorney question.
I'm always defer to the legal minds on our team.
Depends on depends on the motion and the order or the, when the variance was granted.
Years ago.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It can be, we can run with the property owner, it can run with the property. It depends on the actual wording of that variance when they passed it. But I think the way the resolution is worded here is, you're granting is as if the variance was in place already. They would be up to the applicant to make sure that their variance is still good before they actually about to sign, because that's a code compliance thing. So this board's granting the money, or not granting the money, but what's in front of you is whether or not to grant the money. It would be up to the applicant to make sure that they're very good.
So they would still need to obtain a permit through that similar process, but the building permit department will verify, okay, normally we can't approve this not permissible on our ordinance. However, the variance is placed, it's still awarded to Takeout Burger, so that's the path forward that we're recommending. Install the same sign that was approved, because there, as has been pointed out, there's some specific language in the ordinance that outlines dimensions, the locations, the wording, size, scale, etc. And so my understanding is the applicant is prepared to install based on this that was awarded to the previous owner.
Do y'all have it?
Mr. Herrera just told me that they have ran that through the city already, and the variance is still good.
We don't get to see it.
They've ran it through the city attorney's office. Since it's a city matter, they checked with the city attorney, and he said it was still fine. So I guess they did that before they brought it to you guys.
Probably got voted into it, so I remember.
No, if you like, we could definitely provide you a copy of that. That was unfortunately not provided with you this evening.
Okay.
But we did verify that the sign that was presented back when the variance was approved is the same as the sign presented this. I hope that helps.
Any other questions from the board?
No, I had the benefit of having the history of an EDC when it came to the first time, so I probably know more about this than anybody else, or we need to have Tammy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd like to add that what Warner shared with us is true from the standpoint that on July the 28th, the meeting that we had, she was originally scheduled to be on the agenda, and she was at the top of the agenda. And towards the bottom of the agenda was the change in the funding policy. So if everything would have gone as originally intended, she would have been considered under the old rules. But she was advised to research and resubmit, and that's what she did. So, my personal opinion, I think that the fairness of it dictates that she be considered under the policies that were in effect the first time she submitted. This is actually the second time she submitted. First time we submitted. Okay.
I do have one question, Mr. Harvey. I noticed that, the amount requested, there were 3 bids, and the highest bid appears to be the one that was taken. Was there a reason why the other 2 were considered?
Ms. Warner, can you address that?
Yes, I can address that. The reason I didn't take the other 2 bids, it's not that I didn't take them seriously because they're great companies, but this man right here, DLC Signs, got on the building, he went into it, he saw everything that he needed to do. So my guesstimation on it, when I came out, he said, you need electric back here, you need this, you need that. These 2 companies stood from the ground and looked up, and I really thought that maybe at this point in time, to come back after we do the sign, once they're building it, and say, oh, you need this and this, and here's the additional cost of this, and here's the additional cost of that. So I didn't want to have to come back to the board and say, it's not 3,800. It's 100,000, da-da-da. So these people right here, the DL Signs, they just did a full review, or got up there, and I believed what they said the sign in totality was, versus what these other 2 companies said.
Any other questions? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion.
We're still on public hearing.
Oh, that's right. Anyway, I'm sorry. So we will move on to the next public hearing. Okay, item 4B, the public hearing to discuss resolution 2025-831, approving a paving grant funding request to Redbird Skateland and authorize the president to execute the necessary documents. Staff.
Good evening again, President Harvey, members of the board, and public. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. So I'm here presenting on behalf of this case for Redbird Skateland. Redbird Skateland is located at 1206 Duncanville Road, which is north of 20, which is on the close to the northern border of Duncanville. Some of their history, as Mr. Gill shared, they have been in business for over 52 years. The venue was originally built in 1972 by Mr. Gill's father-in-law, Chuck Kerr, and together with his wife, pride themselves in keeping the business within their family for generations. I think that's a huge feat, definitely, and it is a local part of Duncanville history. The family, for their application, have worked diligently to keep in great shape. The business has a total of 15 employees, 5 full-time, 10 part-time, and 80% of those employees are Duncanville residents. Here's just some photos of the family and the skating rink's 50th anniversary, which was in 2022.
Sorry?
The 50th anniversary.
22, September 22.
And some additional photos of the interior. Here's a flyer for upcoming skate night. It's just, all of their events are very much relevant, and they do active marketing to draw additional guests from just within Duncanville, but from the local surrounding communities. And that's a photo from a recent regional event, I believe, that you all hosted for a skating.
It's just called a skate jam. It's just, mostly adults got together to come and skate together. We do a lot of things like that. I couldn't tell you exactly which one that is. I can tell that it's mostly adults there that are all skate, it's like a skate jam group that they, because people do that across the country as well, so that's doing it, but it's nice to be included in them because they can go anywhere in the Metroplex they want to go, so it's kind of cool.
These are some photos of the project as presented. As mentioned, they are requesting a grant for their parking lot. So this kind of just shows you the current state and exactly why it is that they are requesting this grant. So a breakdown of the request. This request also was brought forth before the DCEDC, before the revisions to the grant and incentive policy, and the changes were finalized. So the original request is $13,743, and that includes clearing the tree, loose gravel, fixing the potholes, sealing the asphalt, and I believe also the striping for, that was not included, for the striping for the new parking lot. Again, the justification for the objectives of the DCEDC, offering incentive grants to encourage redevelopment and beautification for our business owners. And the most cost-effective bid was the bid that was selected from Two Hodges Brothers Inc., which was included in your packet for this evening. Again, we did present for options just in alignment with what Assistant Director Goff mentioned, that if the board so choose to follow the new incentive and grant policy at the 50%, that would be the new amount. However, again, Mr. Hudson did submit his application and had been working with the previous team to try to get this all resolved and in alignment for the last year, I believe. So that is the second recommendation at the 100% match, or again, the third at an amount that the board supports. If there's any questions for myself or Mr. Hudson, business owner.
Okay, so we are going to open the floor to members of the public that would like to speak for or against this particular item. And if you have a desire to speak for or against, come and state your name and the address for the record, and you'll be limited to 2 minutes.
Mr. President?
Yes, go ahead.
Roller skater in the house, roller skater.
Barry Gordon, 1751 Crescent Lane. I want to attest to Mr. Hudson's community spirit with me. You may not know, going back to when we had the tragic event at Fieldhouse, we had a shooting at the Fieldhouse. Those campers, almost 150 campers that we had to relocate the next day after the shooting, Mr. Hudson opened skate land to those campers free of charge, and that's where reunification took place. This is evidence of what he does for our community. I strongly support this resolution in the full amount of $13,000. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody want to try to follow up on that? Okay. So, if there are no other questions or comments concerning this item, I guess we will move to the next public hearing. That is item 4C, conduct a public hearing to discuss resolution 2025-830, approving an incentive agreement for him and Jenny's Cafe, and authorize the president to execute necessary documents. Mr. Barrera.
Good evening, thank you. It is my pleasure this evening to present this request I promise you that we did not plan this on purpose, and it was not. It just so happened to be that way that this evening we're talking about a lot of food, a lot of restaurants. So before I start into getting into the request, the nature of the request, I thought it was important to just kind of provide you with a little bit of background, to put some context into the request and what Kim and Jenny means to the community, the fact that it's a staple to the community. Kim and Jenny's has been serving the city of Duncan for over 23 years. Mr. Shook, the current owner, purchased the property, not the property, but the business in 2023. And since then, he's made a series of upgrades and expanded over the course of time his clientele. Their current layout has a maximum seating capacity of 50, and they're having what I would describe growing pains in the fact that their kitchen isn't conducive to keep up with orders and the capacity. So that's in part why they're here this evening, because there was an opportunity that presented itself to them to expand and grow and just be a bit more efficient and with that expanded clientele. So I thought it'd be helpful to take you down memory lane and provide you with some pictures of what Kim and Jenny's used to look like. Does everybody remember this makeup and this layout? So that's the former space, that's a former sign, and that's what it looks like today in its pride and glory. And you can see some of the changes in the decor, in the arts, you know, it continues to become a community staple. And then here's a sneak preview of what's to come. Just some of the improvements that have already been made to the space. Again, the business will stay in Wheatland. They will be changing, but they will be moving closer to the road. But this is a sneak peek at what is to come here in the coming weeks as the finished product. Now, the benefit of the new space is that it's a larger space. You go from seating capacity of 50 seats to 78 seats, and that is hopefully going to meet the growing demand and be great. Now, the expansion, talk about the new location. It's staying within Wheatland Plaza, 586 East Wheatland Road. We're talking about increasing the seating capacity from 50 to 70. That is a 50% increase in square footage. Why? What we're also getting with this new space is the kitchen capacity is doubling. That will accommodate catering and online orders. As part of this new restaurant, there's going to be new bakery offerings and an ice parlor. And with this new restaurant, there will be extended hours. There will be a couple of evenings where they will be open for dinner and having dinner options. Merchandise and branding. I see quite a bit of it this evening. T-shirts, mugs, tumblers, hats, jackets. So aside from providing meals and baked goods, they're also selling merchandise that generates sales tax for the community. What we see here this evening is in and of itself, in that it builds loyalty and community pride. You're here this evening because of the request and your support for the business owner and the business, and it also expands regional visibility. Mr. Shook shared with me that he has customers coming in from as far as 30 miles away to have some of his delightful meals. Now, let's get to the nature of the investment and the economic incentive. When I prepared this over the weekend, the cost was at $389,000 to build out the space. Mr. Shook shared with me prior to the meeting, literally minutes before the meeting, that the build-out cost as of this meeting, or a few minutes ago, is $195,000, which equates to approximately 27% of the economic incentive request of the dollar amount of $135,000. The way the agreement is structured in the packet that I have provided you is that we will be providing 3 installments equal to $45,000 over the course of the next 3 years. Now, Mr. Shook shared that he has signed for this new space a 5-year lease agreement. So I put that as an option for the board's consideration, is if there is a desire to extend the installments from 3 years to 5 years. And what's magical about extending the installments from 3 years to 5 years is that that would be in line with the lease agreement. So again, that's for consideration this evening. But what also Mr. Shook shared with me prior to the meeting is that while the costs are estimated to be at $95,000, there is the possibility that the cost will increase within the next week or two, or for that matter, by the time that the build-out is done, another $40,000. So the larger the build-out cost, the smaller the percentage is of the participation in the incentive. So right now, as it's structured, it's $495,000. The request incentive amount is $135,000. That equates to 27% of the build-out cost. Now, for the longest time, for quite some time, I hesitate in saying for the longest time, we've been talking about structuring these agreements differently when they come before us, being more performance-based, having more metrics, having a point and a finishing point. And this is one that I'm proud to say that is just that. It's a performance-based agreement where the applicant is not given the money up front. The applicant is expected to perform and deliver everything that they said they're gonna deliver. And if they perform, we give over an agreed upon amount of time. And again, performance. They do, we do, they do, we do. And so this is an agreement set up like that. In the agreement that we have put in your packet, we have that the certificate of occupancy must be secured by November 1st. The applicant came back and requested that date to be changed to December 1st. That's why I have this in parentheses, to just buy them a little bit more time in the event that something happens with contracts, et cetera, to not just have that additional cushion, if you will. The other caveat is that the business owners must stay current on all taxes, must be in good standing, and all of this, all of these protection measures protects the DCEDC's investment and, if you will, skin in this game. Now, when we talk about economic impact, the business owner, Mr. Shook, anticipates that their sales to double with this expanded growth and just these new offerings. As a result of that, what that means for the city of Duncanville is we see an increase in sales tax revenue. We see a larger draw from customers across the DSW area. It supports nearby businesses, excuse me. So earlier this evening, there was talks about restaurants and the benefit of restaurants. Successful restaurants feed upon each other, and they grow and they want to be where that synergy is at. And this is just that, the opportunity from other businesses, from other supports. So what this also does is it boosts the corridor visibility by having that foot traffic, that level of activity, that there is additional attention to this corridor and additional desire to invest within this area. Now, I go back to how this economic incentive agreement or this request aligns with the DCEDC goal. One, it supports the revitalization and redevelopment of the shopping center and a business, encourages retention and attraction with measurable outcomes. It's what we were discussing earlier this year, and the board wanting to spend more of their economic incentives money on specific and targeted business attraction, business retention. This checks off that box and expands the tax base and community vitality. The last thing is that it's consistent with incentive policies, and by that I mean it goes back to wanting to do more performance-based, having more metrics, having more variables, and this is just that. If the business owner doesn't perform, or in this case the DCEDC doesn't provide the payment that we have laid out, the payment structure. Staff's recommendation is to approve the resolution that's included in your packet, authorize the board president to execute the agreement, and one of the things that's up there for consideration and for discussion is extending the agreement to 5 years. What's again magical about the 5 years is that that would be in line with the lease agreement. Next step, if the DCEDC recommends approval of this agreement, then it will go before City Council. We will then look at making sure that all the milestones are met and that we disbursements of the money according to the agreement, and we're targeting opening of late 2025, November, December. Any questions?
Yes, sir, Brian.
Just for clarification, it appears as though the first installment payment was originally tied to the CO date. Was that the intention?
Yes.
And so if the date is moved to December, does this installment schedule also change accordingly?
It would, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
On or before that date, correct?
Yes.
Sorry, I would just say, it still makes me a little bit nervous to tie to December 1st date, just understanding construction. I think we should consider revising the language, tie it to the date of the CO, and for this incentive not to be I guess maybe put a year time frame on that as far as within that time frame, rather than just putting those hard constraints there to give a little bit more flexibility.
And that's quite all right. We're open to that revision. In this instance, we put it in there to, if you will, incentivize, encourage the completion of the build-out and get them open. This is a unique situation in that the construction has taken place. The build-out is pretty far along. These pictures that I provided you are pictures of the build-out, so we would think that they would be on track, but I also get that with construction, some of the things, all sorts of things happen, and what you want and what actually ends up happening are two different things. That's why we, when we discussed it last week, we asked to move it to December, but if it's the board's desire to move it even further, that's fine. The situation is that upon the certificate of occupancy, so if the certificate of occupancy happens, say November 1st, there is no penalty. But if it happens beyond that date, it's not a situation where the business owner has to come back and request an extension of that date. That's all.
And I do have a question. So all the kitchen equipment and all of the furnishings from the current location, is that move over or does that stay?
The only thing moving over is my customers, their coffee cups, and the pictures on the wall.
So there's an opportunity for another
Absolutely.
business to move into that location?
Absolutely, and there's already anticipation that there's already somebody else that wants to. And I don't know if I have a minute to talk, because
At this point, I think we just have the floor open to the board, if you don't mind, and then we'll open it to applicant, public, et cetera, if that's okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so what we will do at this point is, if there are any members of the public that would like to speak for or against this particular item, we're at the point where you can participate. And when you come up, wave your hand. I think you're trying to bid on something.
Mr.
Anyway.
President, if I may, business owner, Mr. Tracy, would like to say a few things before we open it to the public, if that's okay?
Well, of course, Mr. Shook, would you come forward?
Tracy Shook, 1233 Boulder Drive, Cedar Hill, Texas, 75113, or 75104. Although I live mainly at Ken and Jimmy's. No, it's something I think is important for everybody to know. Most people probably know me. Most people I'm looking around and I have history with everyone, but I've had 5 businesses in the city of Duncanville over 32 years. And the businesses are still open in the city of Duncanville. I put owners in the businesses that will be successful. And so I think it's important to know that when I got Kim and Jenny's, it was doing around $400, $500 a day. And we took it from 70-some thousand to 380-some thousand to 600-some thousand. So I know this location with this space that we're going to be able to do nothing but grow. But I think it's important to know that Takeout Burgers, Helping Hands, Charburger, the car wash, all of those places own business. So I don't just get in the business to buy it and sell it. I get in it to buy it and get it going and find people that can be just as successful. I was successful at a very young age, and there's nothing that's more pleasurable to see somebody get into a business and be successful. And so I also do that for a living. I do that. I do brokerage for a living, and so most of my clients are, like, I don't advertise, they come back to me a year later. And so Duncanville would really hope that we can start supporting the businesses and stuff like this, because we do need more restaurants. And there's nothing that helps a restaurant out other than coming together. It's been a pleasure working with Shelley, because now we buy stuff together when it comes to the food companies. So I just asking for y'all's support.
Okay. And,
Mr. Harvey,
ma'am,
I just wanted to mention.
wait.
I drive to San Karen Contreras,
Uh-huh.
and what else, Landis?
Yeah.
1114 Statler Drive.
You know how this goes.
I just wanted to mention to everybody, if you don't know, Kim and Jenny's is on Monday. And that is the most frustrating thing, in my opinion, when you want to go have something to eat for lunch or dinner, and all of our restaurants are closed on Monday except for 2 right now. fast food, but, you know, sit-down restaurants. And I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Done? Ma'am?
What?
Yeah, I think she's,
Oh, I'm done.
she's done. Going up
That's all I wanted to say.
Barry Gordon, 1751 Crescent Lane, Duncanville 75137. This room is replete with customers of Kim and Jenny's, which to Kim and Jenny's is not just an anchor, but it's a destination. People go there. I have meetings with clients in Kim and Jenny's, and they're always amazed to see you have a place like this, you have a village restaurant where you can take people. I appreciate that. I appreciate what they do for us in this city. I strongly support anything this DCEDC and the city council further on what they can do for this particular restaurant, because it is the best thing that we have going for our city. What did you want me to say?
If we take Kim and Jenny, should we step?
That's your call. Anyway, my cup and my wife's cup are moving from there to there. Anyway, this is an opportunity to give merit, to give congratulations to almost 500,000. Think of this: $500,000 in cold cash investment by an investor in our city. This is extremely important for everybody to understand. At the table, as distinguished members of this and future city council members. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, at the risk of sounding like Captain Obvious, I want everyone to know that the future sustainability of Duncanville is tied to small business. So I'll just let that be, and we can argue about it later if you just want to argue. So, with that being done, I think we're at the point where we invite other attendees who would like for or against this item on the agenda. And if you'd like to speak, when you come up, will you state your name and address for the record? And you have 2 minutes. And I'd like to add another provision. You might want to take advantage of it. But if there is someone who spoke before you and you totally and could agree with what they're saying, then you are certainly welcome to come up and say, I totally agree with that person that just spoke, and that will be part of the record. So that's up to you. So starting right now, if you would like to come and state your support for or against Kim and Jenny's, you can do that at this time.
My name's Cheryl T. I live at 507 Kelly Court, Duncanville, 75137. I strongly support Kim and Jenny's. I'm there almost daily. I'm sure I know about everybody in this room, but they are really godsends to Duncanville. I've been here since 1974. I graduated from Duncanville High School, and Kim Jenny's is what this town needed. People gather together, meet friends, see old friends. Everybody gets together and talks. Grubhub delivers there. I have met some people that get food from Grubhub from Kim and Jenny's, and they didn't know anything about Kim and Jenny's, and they come out here to eat because of the food they got in Grubhub, and they love food, and then they want to see the atmosphere because they bring it up online and see what it looks like, and I let them know about the new restaurants, and they're just all excited about it, and I know this company is grow, and they deserve full recognition in this town. They earned it.
Thank you. Next. Yes, ma'am.
Susan Corey, 614 South Alexander Avenue, Duncanville, Texas, 75137. My husband and I moved in '88, and we didn't know that there was over there. And then it's like the community kept saying, oh, you gotta try it, you gotta try it. And it's more than just a restaurant, it's like a gathering, it's a family. You go there, you come, people visit, it's like, oh, where you been? They miss you when you're not there. So it's a community. And moving them to the new location is gonna make them more visible than back in the common. So I'm all for moving, and we're gonna be there.
Okay, next.
Behind you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it. No reserve seat.
My name is Melinda Jones. Address is 2824 Dry Creek Lane in Dallas, 75237. I am the owner of Jones Inc. Custom Embroidery on Main Street. So we have partnered with Kim and Jenny's, and we make pretty much all the merch, the cups, the custom name mugs and toners. I fully support what Kim and Jenny's is doing, and I just want to let you know how not only Jones Inc. and Kim and Jenny's, but also with Takeout Burger, like we have created a bond to where we lean on each other and support each other's businesses and figure out marketing tricks and just however we can make our business just bounce off of each other ideas and just each other. But Jones Inc. is at 206 North Main Street, right across from the Duncanville store. We do embroidery, we do any branding, promotional products. So that's how we partner with not only Kim and Jenny's, but Takeout Burger. But although on my off day, we're closed on Mondays, I go and work with Kim and Jenny's. So that's how I just feel in wherever I'm eating. So I support it.
Shelley Warner, Takeout Burgers, 795 West Wheatland Road. I'm just diddling you. My story though with Kim and Jenny's is a little different. I knew not one person in this room until I met Tracy and came to the restaurant. And so at times, I don't drink coffee, but I would eat my grits and bacon at home by myself. And I met Tracy. And so my world has kind of opened up, and now I look at everybody in this, including you, Mr. Harvey, that I met through Kim and Jenny's. My accountant is here. So everybody that I lean on for work, I bought merchandise from these people here, but everybody I lean on from Takeout Burger has accepted me. I can be a little more wonderful than most, I guess. But they've accepted me, I love them, and I support Kim and Jenny's, and they've helped my business thrive also. I just wanted to say that for the record.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you. Next.
Randy Smithy, 1906 Cedar Road, Duncanville. I can't imagine this place without Kim and Jenny's. It's just become such a treasure for us. It's so easy to get in there and eat real quick, get on do the work you gotta do. I just can't imagine Duncanville not having Kim and Jenny's.
And if I can interject,
Repeat your name, please, for the record.
Grady Smith.
Grady W. Smithy.
So, the interesting thing, and most of you in this room know this, but just for those that don't. The interesting thing about Kim and Jenny's, which makes, one of the things that makes it so iconic, is that when you go in there, all around the walls are pictures of individuals in Duncanville. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You can't really see it from this distance. But anyway, it's kind of like the fabric of life in Duncanville. It's iconic. And everybody who's anybody is on there.
Well, wait a minute.
No, I'm just, no, not just you. Not going somewhere with this. Not just you. But I have been working very hard to get to a point in this community where my wife and I can have a picture up there. The rest of the grade. So not just you.
Okay.
All right. So just don't anybody get up there. And I'm still working. So anyway, so yes, we love Kim and Jenny's. I have eaten over there several times. I'm just like everybody else. Anyway, so I digress. Next person that wants to speak for or against. Okay. All right, so we will go to the next public hearing, and that is for D. Yes. Conduct a public hearing to discuss resolution 2025-833, approving an incentive grant agreement with Ricky Fain, for exterior property and infrastructure improvements, and authorize the president to execute the necessary documents. Staff.
Good evening and thank you. This evening presentation is in part a continuation of what was presented earlier this year, back in, I believe, in March, where we were talking about consideration of improvements to several properties owned by the Fain family, specifically improvements to the exterior of several buildings. At that time, the applicant's consultant, Mr. Josh Mejia, asked for the item to be tabled to give them an opportunity to work through the project numbers, phasing plan, get a better handle on the cost. And so this evening, Mr. Mejia will present to you the information that they've been able to put together over the course of the last several months for your review and consideration. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Mr. Mejia.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, President Harvey and the rest of the board members. Just to provide a little bit of context, my name is Josh Mejia. I'm a consultant hired by Ricky Fain and Family Company called Fain Family First. And we wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about Project Fouts today, but before I kind of take a deep dive on the presentation, I wanted to provide a little bit of context how we got to this point altogether. It's been about over a year now that the city of Duncanville, the EDC staff previously conceived the idea of a vision to be able to revitalize and redevelop Fouts Avenue, which is right across the street here on Wheatland Road. And the council had a unanimous consensus at the time to be able to engage with Ricky Fouts, who's also here in this room, to be able to think about exactly what could be done on the important corridor here in the city of Duncanville. And with time, the idea has been tossed around back and forth as to what could be conceived on the historic properties that are here on Duncanville. And our consultant engaged with Ricky and the team, as well as Victor and his team, to be able to understand a little bit about what those possibilities can look like and realistically what can we do. And it goes without further ado to mention that Victor and his team have been very helpful in the process to be able to allow us to determine exactly how high or how low this project can go. Now, the project, as many projects that we've witnessed here in the state of Texas, the market conditions right now are very challenging, financially speaking, for us to be able to attract financing, be able to build out the capital stack, to be able to develop a good project. Now, Victor and his team, as aspirational as they are, which we completely love and adore, they've asked us to think big, right? Exactly what kind of development can take place in the city of Duncanville. Now, we kind of had an idea, but we don't like just kind of punching from a gut feeling, right? So we went ahead and looked at the data to see what the market demand can look like. And we determined that it would be very, very challenging to be able to develop a lot of retail space on Fouts and be able to meet that demand without having a single vacant property there for use. And so we didn't really want to invest something that was just going to end up turning into blight, no usage, no activity, no options, right, for the community. That's just being realistic based on the data that we've seen. Plus, it would be also very challenging to be able to secure financing for such a large project that's being considered for the entire Fouts Avenue. And so we thought about, okay, what is that middle ground, right? And I think that's kind of the sweet spot that the city of Duncanville at the time now have been contemplating, right? Exactly what we can do. And we wanted to go ahead and target what is that middle group housing, right? Exactly the type of folk with disposable income into the area that can also participate in some of the shops that I have the pleasure to also participate in as well, and just boost that economy, right? Economic activity, along with some other developments that could happen as a side effect of such a large commitment here in this area. And that's kind of what we wanted to go ahead and expand on today, but also talk about what the possibilities could look like without a willing partner such as the Fame Family First Corporation be able to consider in this evening. And if this partnership perhaps does not materialize, one of the options, and just being realistic here as well, one of the options that could be looked at is to provide the minimum investment to just extend the life of the assets that we have in Fouts Avenue, which, as many may or may not like, you know, banks are easy to be able to finance product that could potentially be used for Section 8 type of tenancy, which is perhaps something that may not look good in the cultural district of our community here. And so that's the consideration. Exactly what can we do, right, with the Duncan Economic or Community Economic Development Corporation and with the city of Duncanville. And so we conceived the plan of exactly a full master plan development to be able to address not only the housing needs that we could be attracting into the community, but also address some of the retail activity that could also take place on Fouts Avenue, as well as some indirect retail activity that could take place in partnership with organizations such as the Chamber of Commerce, any other business association, such as a farmer's market could probably look at if we were to extend a key important corridor into the community. So again, we have the partnership proposal, and the way we can structure this. Again, Fame Family First owns about 28 parcels, plus or minus one or two. Rick, if you can correct me if I'm wrong. But 28 parcels, individual parcels that are on Fouts Avenue, parcels that could essentially be very expensive to redevelop if we were to engage on this window of opportunity at a later time. And we actually developed a very important metric just to kind of consider what we have now and what we could potentially have in the future. We also skimmed and saw a lot of, we engaged in a lot of hours of labor to be able to review some of the conversations that have taken place with City Council as well as this board as to what type of activities they would want to see in the city of Duncanville. And we try to find that alignment to ensure that whatever we do envision or whatever we do engage as a partnership aligns very well with what the city and the EDC are looking to establish. And we found through a lot of the adopted policies that not only does this project align to be able to enhance some of that touristic destination activity that we want to see in the city of Duncanville, but we also saw a lot of alignment with what the Type B corporation can do as well. And there's some provisions on the local government tax code that also allow for the EDC to participate in these sorts of partnerships to be able to enhance retail and housing on the project that is being considered. Now, some of you may have seen some of these elevations before. There's been some improvement on the glazing to be able to modernize and feel of Fouts Avenue. There's a little bit of the facade for some of the apartment complex buildings that are there on Fouts Avenue as well. Some of the retail components that can also be conceived on Wheatland, which is our transited corridor right in front of City Hall. And in a little bit of a bird's eye view, it's a little bit cut off, but we also see the proximity of Wheatland Plaza, the Fouts Avenue proposed project site, some of the important assets that the city has in order to attract some of the more active visitation as well. The Duncan Police Department as well as City Hall further down on the East Wheatland Road as well. Again, this is a little bit cut off, but essentially what we're trying to propose here, hopefully I can click here on the right button. We have some of the residential density that we're going to go ahead and see right on Fouts, but on the Wheatland side, we want to be able to consider partnering up with the city to be able to have some more boutique retail space originally, to be able to have some of that commercial retail activity that the Duncanville EDC as well as the city are looking to get. Now, to expand a little bit more as to what we're seeing in other projects throughout the state, as much as we wanted to conceive something more perhaps upper scale for the city of Duncanville, we've seen a lot of projects actually throughout the DFW area where we conceive high, but the capital stack becomes very challenging to obtain, financing becomes really difficult to obtain, the rents that the market are looking at are not quite where they're supposed to be, and so a lot of the projects get presented to the city and then slowly get watered down or they get scaled down, right? And it becomes a very frustrating process to see. There's actually some communities just not too far away from here, about 15, 20 minutes, where we're seeing that sort of effect, and yet the council, given the tenacity and the want that they have, they approve the project because at the end of the day, it's going to spur some of this construction activity that the city wants to go ahead and see in hopes that the market improves out of this low period that we're seeing. Now, I mentioned before that there's about 28 parcels of land on Fouts Avenue that we would be touching and redeveloping in partnership with the city of Duncanville, as well as the Duncanville EDC, to be able to give a lot of these public amenities to attract visitation, these parklets, to be able to widen a bit this street and be able to have some market days in this area. Again, this is conceptual, subject to change, but the concept and the desire is still there to be able to conceive what this could look like. And just to kind of give a little context, with the full activation of Wheatland Plaza here, having folks walk from either side of Wheatland into Fouts and be able to enjoy some of the program public amenities that we could potentially see here on Fouts Avenue, as well as seeing some more park space along Wheatland, and be able to also have this boutique retail experience right on some of these properties too. So parcels that we would be touching, what would that cost be to be able to conceive this plan? Now, if we were to potentially partner up with both the city of Duncanville and the Duncanville EDC, each parcel would be receiving roughly $120,000 to be able to improve the exterior facade, be able to improve the roofing, be able to conceive the retail components, as well as all of the public amenities that you see here on this overhead view of this site. That is far less than what an EDC would traditionally consider if the EDC were to acquire each parcel of land with time. I mean, just on the land acquisition costs alone, I mean, that number is going to be way above the number that is being derived from this proposal. Now, on top of that, if the city or the EDC will acquire each and individual parcel, you're looking at possible demolition costs. You're looking at also what the incentive request could look like for another developer that would want to raise their hand and say, look, I'm going to go ahead and partner with the Duncanville EDC as well as the city of Duncanville. Now, the total capital investment that is being projected, this is after a first version analysis of the construction cost for the entire, we're looking at $11.6 million for the entire project, 6 of which is just on the public entities of the, or the public infrastructure of the project itself. Those are about a couple months old, maybe 2 months old, numbers, that projection. We're projecting in a 3-phase approach about a 24-month construction timeline. So if you start stacking the time, this construction cost, the total capital improvement costs could easily move up maybe 20 to 23% with time, depending on exactly how construction costs behave from now till then. However, the one cost that we hope that we can establish a partnership with the city of Duncanville, the Duncanville EDC, would not balloon. I mean, this is something that we fix. This is something that we're proposing as a reimbursement-based process. I know Victor had mentioned, which I applaud Victor for the way that he presented the last item agenda. We want to make sure that we're being fair, right? We're not asking for money up front. This is essentially a performance agreement that would self-regulate, meaning that if Fame commits, the city commits, and you're going hand on hand, side by side along with them. The intent overall is to establish a partnership, a partnership that's going to create a project that everybody in the community can be proud of at the end of the day, and be able to have some more construction activity taking place in the city of Duncanville quite a bit. Now, I mentioned construction activity, right? If you start looking at the grand scheme of what's happening in the city of Duncanville, we pulled some data from CoStar, which is the leading data platform for real estate. And just in the city of Duncanville, these are numbers from July 25 this year. We're actually looking at a construction decline of negative 49% for the city of Duncanville. Now, we hope that, realistically speaking, that if we were to partner up with this project, not only would we want to be able to attract, as I mentioned before, the type of demographic into the community and invite them and receive them, but also have more commercial activity, but more importantly, be able to show everybody that there is construction activity happening in the city of Duncanville, that there is action, and that is economic development at the end of the day. Now, we definitely don't want to break the bank for many folks, but we want to be able to target a rent rate that's going to attract the right kind of individual in here that's going to be spending more in the restaurants, that's going to be spending more in the stores, and it's also going to be taking advantage of all of the public amenities, including public infrastructure, to be able to get around and explore the city of Duncanville. Now, what does the economic impact look like, right, for the city of Duncanville and the Duncanville EDC? Now, if we were to proceed with absolutely everything that's being conceptualized, that's being proposed, you all should have received a very detailed breakdown that goes into the minutia of how we derive sales tax projections, that how we derive ad valorem or property tax projections. And we base that off a 10-year projection conservatively, right, with very small increments year after year if we were to be able to conceive this project together. There is a sales tax benefit to pushing something like this, not only with the retail component, but also with Fain Family for allowing for the use of these sort of market days happening on Fouts Avenue, which would connect to the cultural district. This is at the heart of the cultural district, by the way. And also an increase of ad valorem as well, which is a major benefit for the city. More money into the general fund means better services for the citizens at the end of the day. That's more money to improve roads, that's more money to be able to enhance public infrastructure, that's more money for the taxpayer base coming from just an injection of improvement that is going to be later assessed by the tax appraisal district as well. So there's a massive breakdown, as I mentioned before, on that was shared to the staff. Hopefully the board members were able to receive it. That goes into the minutia of how all of that was derived. Again, that was based off of the complete concept of the project. Here's are just some excerpts of that analysis that was shared with everybody. We provided two proposed terms, right? What would happen if the EDC chose to partner up with just one option? What would happen if both the city and the EDC would partner up for the entire project? Now, we went ahead and decided to split what that public infrastructure cost would look like. Now, the request here is, depending on the appetite, depending on the want and desire of this board, we would essentially have the opportunity to meet up to $3.16 million in all of the public infrastructure that's required for the project. That's the desire, that's the proposed terms for this first option, where we would see just some of the retail component coming into the concept, some of that improved housing inventory that we're also looking at, and as well as the potential partnership to create some market days, right, programming to be able to have some additional retail activity happening perhaps on the weekends there on Fouts. The full conceived project in partnership with also the city, that can come in the form of pre-programmed capital improvement dollars, that can be in the form of a Chapter 380 agreement for the appraised value, meaning that we only invest what the taxpayer is paying on that specific site, right? This isn't money that is already programmed for other projects. It's coming from projections, future projections of what's being improved on the site as well. And this is what the return on investment would look like, not just for the EDC, but also for the city, right? And as I mentioned to Victor, because Victor was very adamant and he wanted to emphasize on this point, he said, we want to be able to partner up with a project that's going to provide a positive return for both the EDC and the city of Duncanville. Very appreciative of that advice, something that we carry in our philosophy as well. We're also very appreciative that we have a property owner that has control over these 28 parcels of land and is essentially saying, look, we love the vision. He's been in Duncanville, raised in Duncanville. He's seen the city transform. We're actually outside. He was talking about how there was literally nothing here but military activity at one point. There's some history behind that. There was a lot of development that took place. It plateaued, and now we have a window of opportunity to say, look, we're going to go ahead and partner up, create that public-private partnership model, and we're going to have some great activity happening here at the at the city of Duncanville. That concludes my presentation. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I just need some clarification on the request. So, am I understanding correct, there's actually two separate options here that we're considering in this particular proposal? Can you walk us back through that again?
Yeah, so if we go to one of the prior slides. So in terms of what's eligible on behalf of the city and the EDC, the construction analysis that was conducted and paid for concluded that we have about $6.1 million on just public infrastructure that would be eligible for ad valorem reimbursements or for sales tax expenditures as well. Now, what we went ahead and proposed was essentially a measurement of what the appetite and desire is for the EDC board, is that from those funds, we can split that and essentially say, EDC board, if you want to go ahead and partner with a willing developer, a willing property owner, you could essentially incentivize up to this $3.16 amount. Now, the partnership, if we were to be able to hypothetically partnership here with the city and with the EDC, or with either or, this would be an important and integral part of securing the capital stack financing necessary with the banking institution to be able to say, let's go ahead and rock and roll, let's go ahead and get this entire redeveloped for the entire city of Duncanville. So there is no specific amount except for what the cap should be. We wouldn't want to be asking for more than what you're even eligible to spend on. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does, and the way that this is written here appears as though it's all for improvements on property and not for any public improvements.
This is for all public improvements. This is for exterior facades, roofing. This wouldn't actually touch the interior of the improvements.
So I hear public improvements. You had some information there for streets and sidewalks.
Correct.
Consider that public improvements.
Yeah, right.
But this is for,
So right-of-ways, if you include the right-of-ways and the parklets, as well as the streetscaping, the hardscaping, then you're looking at additional $3 million that was estimated on the construction analysis that took place. So just to kind of, touch basing and ensure that there is enough clarity there. There's 3.16 of EDC eligible expenditures. There's another $3 million to be able to cover parklets, the walkways, the hardscapes, the street improvements, things like that. Yes.
And then there was some 12 commercial units created, is that something?
Correct,
separate?
so as we detailed on the, and we apologize, this looks like it's a screenshot that got cut off here for a second.
Okay.
Yeah. But we have a little bit more of an extension here on this side. So we're hoping to see a certain amount of retail components here for that boutique retail tenancy. We would love to have several floors up to give you more of a traditional mixed-use development that you're seeing in other communities. What more than likely will take us at first is be able to have commercial facing Wheatland, potentially in the future, depending on the market demand, be able to increase that capacity, be able to meet a much higher number. Now, just depending on, again, the appetite or the desire of this board and the city, we would like to meet the maximum amount of, I believe it was 12 retail units on there. But again, it's a variable right now, right? It's a kind of a moving target, but it's not moving as much as it was before when this was presented several times ago. Now we're saying, look, we've already done our analysis. It's just a matter of deciding what does this partnership look like and what's going to be the outcome for the citizens that live here in the city of London.
And so from this aerial view, what is that built to the left?
So we have some more multifamily units right here, similar to what you would see on this side. So you would have a facade that would look similar to this with improved glazing. And here's kind of like more, perspective view from one of the larger entrances on the house.
Is that what's there now?
No, the bones are there. This is a redevelopment project, so that we're looking to modernize it a bit with not only the modern glazing, modern facade, but also steel roofing as well.
And the ones that you said for the commercial, is that a demo proposed?
No, this is not a demo. We are working to redevelop and revitalize existing bones on Fouts Avenue. So we wouldn't be
Not a demo.
No, unless things change, right? And let's say we start working this in the 3 phases that was proposed in the presentation. any reason we all of a sudden see a demand in retail, we have received a confirmation and commitment from Ricky and Main Family First to be able to come back to the drawing board, come to you all as partners and say, look, there's a demand, what would I like to see? Which is, I would add, very unique in a lot of the projects that we work with. Typically, a developer is the one that's saying, I take care of the wheel, you guys just follow. In this case, it's somebody that's been here in the community for several years saying, well, let's do a true partnership here.
Just a couple of clarifying questions.
Yep.
And so the renderings that are in our packet are a little bit different from what you showed up there.
Just a tad bit, I think they're a little bit cut off on.
They're cut off, but they're different. They look different as far as like the appearance. Are you proposing to stain? We don't get into aesthetic here, I'm just curious about what you're asking for as far as the overall development.
Yeah, no,
But you're proposing to stain or paint the brick as well as?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, we want to be able to modernize that exterior facade to give something that's attractive to the potential resident as well as the visitor as well.
And this says shingles and I think the proposal
Metal
says
metal
galvanum.
roofing. What was that?
It's saying in the proposal it says galvanum. Is that what you're still proposing?
No, we're actually looking at doing, so I know it says James Hardy shingles there on top, but we're looking at the metal roofing design
Okay.
for the metal finishing.
Okay, we still have time. Any more questions from the board?
What happens to the existing units that are in use in this type of mass development? Somebody has to pay for it. So are they gonna be priced out of their homes or?
That's an excellent question. So if we were to strike a partnership with the EDC, we're also have willingness from the property owners as well to have a pass-through savings fee for the retail components. Now, we want to make sure that, and this is also why we went ahead and decided to propose a three-phase approach, right? Because we can move some of those folks into temporary housing within that same street. But also, when you look at the rents, the rent rates that we're capturing here on CoStar, we're looking at about $1.56 price per square foot. We want to make sure that we respect that middle to avoid having to house out people from there. We don't want any sort of gentrification like that coming from something like this. And taken from somebody that has been here and knows the city pretty well, you know, that's definitely being considered when looking at this whole project. Thank you so much for that question, by the way.
I do have one last question. For the proposed improvements along Wheatland, and this may be for Victor, but is Wheatland, is that city right or is that textile right away?
That is city right away. One of the conversations that we've had is the desire for the city to take over and assume the right-of-way improvements, only because the city's in the best position to design, manage the of those, and in a position to seek any available grants that may be out there. So that's a conversation that we had here recently. This evening, there has been quite a bit of information that has been presented to you, Mr. Mejia and Mr. Payne, and that to get to this point, it has not been easy, and the numbers up until now had been moving, but they're not moving so much anymore. We have some better numbers than we did several months ago, but still, this is a very complex deal, a very involved deal, and the dollar amount is large, to say the least. And so, what I would recommend is for the board to consider is one, tabling this item because there was additional information that was provided to staff this afternoon. And two, consider creating a subcommittee to work with staff to negotiate the terms of this agreement and then come back to you with those refined economic incentive terms.
Okay. Continuing the public hearing piece of it, if there is anyone present that would speak for or against this particular item on the agenda, now is the time to participate. And if you decide to do so, come and state your name and your address for the record. Any takers?
I have a couple questions. My name is May De La Rosa. I live at 1107 Springs Road. I just have a couple questions for Mr. Fain. about relocating or moving the existing tenants. He expressed that, the gentrification was mentioned, and, that can be a very, bad word, to many people. And so what kind of guarantees would the city have on the process of relocating those people, and what kind of input would those tenants have on that process? That's one question. The other question is, what do you mean by boutique, businesses that you would want to, encourage to be in there, and what would you do to try and, find commercial tenants for that?
And let me answer some of that if I may. Boutique does not mean tattoo parlors, okay? What we're after is, as the cultural district develops, now we have an opportunity to bring artists in, and they can have frontage on Wheeland and have a storefront. That's my thinking. How fast will it happen? Supply and demand.
Excuse me,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Payne,
Yes.
if you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Ricky Fane,
Address?
2525 County Road 2013, Walnut Range.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, how fast will the market change? How fast can we do it? How fast can the city get the cultural district going? All of this is interwoven. We just have to start. That's our goal. Start changing it. My family has owned that piece of property, or at least part owners during a lot of it, since the early 50s. We've had it for a while. So I know it fairly well. I don't know. Our challenge is that because of the functional obsolescence, i.e. washaterias instead of built-in washers and dryers, that's not the group we want to attract. Our group is after what I would call middle housing. A nice place to live, but by going to duplexes and small apartments, these each have 14 units, that's all. They all know each other. They will all have their own washer and dryer. It'd be a nice place to live right across from the city hall. That's what we're hoping for, and that's what DC and the city of Duncanville came to me about 2 years ago, developing this project. And that's what we're doing. I think it'll be something that I will be proud to own, that y'all will be proud to see.
Any other questions or comments from the audience speaking for or against this proposal? Okay, so that will take us to the next public hearing. And that one is conduct a public hearing to discuss Resolution 2025-834, approving a sponsorship funding request to Chamber of Commerce 9/11 Remembrance, and authorize the president to execute the necessary documents. Staff.
Thank you so much. Again, Marcella Perez, Economic Development Coordinator. I have been working and have the pleasure of working with Ms. Amy Jackson, who is the Executive Board for the Duncanville Chamber of Commerce, where she and Chairman Mr. Thibodeau,
Right.
he's the chair. And the entire team have been working together to continue the operations of the chamber in the president's absence. And 9/11 Remembrance event is something that has been hosted in the city for at least 15 years. The DCEDC has sponsored this event in the past. The presenting sponsorship, the title sponsorship, if you will, for the event is at $2,200. And per the sponsorship guidelines, the amount falls under the threshold, the requirement to take before the board, which the executive director has the authority to approve. However, we're bringing this before the board in case there was any desire to either support additionally or also purchase additional tables. The presenting sponsorship, again, the $2,200 comes with one table for the event. However, again, if the DCEDC wishes to purchase additional tables, then that would increase the dollar amount. So this is the reason why this is coming before you tonight. And we have, again, Ms. Amy Jackson and Mr. Josh Thibodeau here on behalf of the chamber to help answer any questions that you may have.
If I may add to it, in the course of the last several months, there have been discussion from DCEDC members about the desire to purchase more tables at events like this, to provide an opportunity for the DCEDC to invite developers, business owners, those individuals that were looking to invest or already investing in the community, to partake in more of the city events and bring them more into our world, if you will, in our community. And so what we did is use this as an opportunity to check in with you and say, is that the desire of the board? I know we've had discussions about it, about these possibilities and how to go about filling the additional tables if that were the case. And so if that is the desire of the board, then would certainly go beyond potentially the $3,000 threshold. And we wanted to be in a position where we were prepared in the event that that was the desire. If not, then no further action would be required. Am I correct? That's for us. Thank you. Just wanted to share that with you.
Okay. So, the chamber is here. Is there anything that you all would like to say about this particular item?
Sure. If anyone, if not everyone is aware of the event, I can give a brief description. Okay. My name is John Thibodeau. Residence address, right? Okay. It is 8 Country Club Court, and that is Pantego 76013. Okay. Thank you, board, for taking time to discuss this with us. But our 9/11 event, like Tella said, has been going on for 15 years. It is something that has been started based on family relationships with chamber members in the past that were first responders, and really it stemmed from the fact that at the time they wanted to make sure that our first responders were given recognition on an annual basis because when the events of 9/11 took place, they realized there was a shift in how first responders were respected and sort of revered for what they did for us. And not only the work that they do to protect us here, within our borders, but things that they do throughout the world. We want to make sure that our military and first responders had an event here in Duncanville where they would be honored. And we do several things. We have, the national anthem will be sung by a local artist. We will have a bagpiper who has also been doing this for, to my knowledge, I've been in this community for 10 years, and he's always been the guy that does it. And so it's certainly one of those events where it's more of a somber evening. It's not something where we're going to be dancing and having a time. However, most everyone that has attended throughout the years has some sort of memory or family that is associated with those events. We have a great speaker this year who's going to discuss his job and his experience in the world during those events, and so you'll get to hear hopefully someone's perspective of what they experienced the day of and even weeks to follow, maybe different than what you experienced yourself during that time. And so we certainly realize that this is something that is long past us, but it's not about just bringing up those bad memories or bringing up just those events, but it's certainly it's something that we're going to do just on the basis of let's use this to honor and bring some awareness of what our heroes are doing for us to keep our freedom. So and there'll be food, and there'll be some other opportunities to network and meet with all the other attendees.
So Josh,
Yes, sir.
If you take a moment, so recently I got involved with the chamber. So if you could share with the audience, our relationship, so I just want, people to know my involvement.
Fair enough, fair enough. So, Board President Harvey just mentioned, he is currently serving with us on the Duncanville Chamber, on my executive committee. In fact, that is not something that he had a relationship with us prior. How we recently had an opening for an appointee position, and that appointee position is not a voted on role. It is something that, based on my needs, I will discuss with the board if they have any nominations. Mr. was recommended to me, and you know, I thought about the type of individual do I need in that role, what type of relationships am I trying to foster in the city of Duncanville on behalf of the chamber, just so I can be in a little bit better partnership with organizations. And so I believed him to be a good fit. We discussed with him and he accepted.
So with that being said, attorney, do I need to recuse myself?
Which that would be, just for clarification, is again, the role of appointee is an advisory capacity. And so it's just so that I can get wise counsel for me to do my job for the Chamber of Commerce. Just again, for clarification. Sorry.
Only if you if your financial interest in the organization meets a certain threshold. And I'm assuming it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I had enough to pay Sam.
You paid for your own table though, right? Is that, you know, or we can invoice him. No, but if you have questions about that, again, feel free. He just recently joined. We had this application in prior to that relationship.
And I'm sorry if this seems like 11th hour, but I was just thinking about it today, and it dawned on me. I said, wait a minute, now, do I need to recuse myself? And so I just wanted to make it so.
Sure.
All right, so back to the script. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of or opposition to this particular item on the agenda? If so, you have 2 minutes. Come up and state your name and your address, and the attorney will be keeping the time. And so, so is there anyone who at this time would like to speak for or against this particular item? Yes, Ms. Eagle.
Patricia Ebert, 115 South Greenstone. I listened to, it's an event, 9/11 Remembrance, that's been in Duncanville for a decade and a half. But when I saw, and the venue has changed, when I saw the flyer on the Chamber's website, it's now being held in Dallas. And I know that one of the last August 19th City Council meetings, they did change sponsorship requirements, that the events have to be held in Duncanville, not outside Duncanville. But I'm also listening that, and it does say on the flyer that DCEDC is sponsoring this event. But I'm also hearing that this money request, $2,200, is for buying a table at this event that would be in Dallas.
Okay. Anyone else would like to speak for or against? Okay. So,
I was just gonna say, if there's an explanation needed for any of the questions, just let me know when it's okay to provide that.
do you have any additional response on what you've heard?
Oh, I mean, I have no dispute to her statement. She's absolutely right, it is not in Dallas. And I will tell you that, I mean, it's not in Duncanville. This is the first time that the event is not held in Duncanville. And unfortunately, it is a decision that was tough to make, but we had to, just based on the availability of venue for the event. And we had, things were arranged prior to, but we could not come to an agreement with our Hilton Garden Inn partners. And that was the reason why we had to make that decision. We're not happy about it, but I think that the venue that we have is going to provide a much better experience for those who, who go. And that's the main reason for the request, is that we want to make sure that we provide the best experience possible in light of the fact that we had to make a change of venue last minute. So I have can't dispute that. You're right.
All right. Okay, if nothing else on that one, we'll go to the last. Conduct a public hearing to discuss resolution 2025-835 approving a sponsorship funding request. The Chamber of Commerce Casino Night, and authorize the president to execute the necessary documents. Staff.
Yes, so thank you. This item has been presented on the agenda in the form of a quote-unquote sponsorship. However, I want to make clear that the Chamber has not requested an official sponsorship from the DCEDC. They have, however, asked if we were interested in purchasing additional tables outside of what we were originally, what we historically have done. In the past, specifically last year, the DCEDC purchased 4 tables.
4 tables, yes. And it's just a table purchase, it's not a sponsorship at all.
Yeah, no, you were absolutely right. It is a casino night that we put on for our membership and others in the community to come and fun. And, it's certainly, it costs money to get there, but I will tell you that in my experience, both as a chamber member and on the board, this is, I would call it one of our most successful events, not because it makes a ton of money. It's our most successful event because we're not there talking about business. We are all there in a venue that we have put together and put all of these successful people in a room to, quite honestly, play with some fake money. And we all enjoy it. There's dancing. We do our best to have good music. And this is just an opportunity for us to have a different type of event. And it's historically, it's had a great turnout.
And may I add, it has been held. There was Eddie Dean's Ranch downtown. It was at Eddie Dean's Ranch 2 or 3 times. It's actually been at the Southern Cross on Valley Ferry Road before. So it isn't historically always at Duncanville and Duncanville. It's just a fun event. Once again, it represents the best of Duncanville. Everybody comes together and has a good time. Nobody's keeping score of what business is yours, what business is yours. Everybody's just having a good time and remembering what the best of Duncanville is. So it's important.
So, Ms. Jackson, can you give us your name and address for the record?
Jackson, 934 Cambridge Drive, Duncanville, 75137.
Thank you, so much. All right.
I have a question. Can you distinguish between the P reserve and the high roller?
Well, that's a question for you.
The VIP table gets straight tickets, and they get better placement near the stage and the dance floor. That's the difference.
Thank you.
What's the average attendance for this event?
Pardon?
Average attendance?
Ooh. 180 to 200 usually.
Yeah, that's what I was just
I
thinking.
think it's about right.
I know that last year we had a lower attendance. It's probably closer to like 150,
We
160.
competed with some, I don't remember if it was a major football game last year or something. That always, I know one year we had an event, it was in Grand Prairie, and we ended up having to have the UT game in the pre-function area on the TV if that was the promise so that people would come. So sometimes there are conflicting events. We all have a lot going on in our lives, but that's it.
And if I may, in regard to, I know she started off addressing some comments about the venue, tell you that this particular event, which again is why we're not asking for sponsorships, we just want to see you guys want to, come hang out with us, right? Genuinely, this event last year, there were several that day of the event said, hey, the Hilton Garden Inn for that event, being that it's meant to be more of a fun, kind of high roller, casino night, it just, I don't have a better way to say this, it just wasn't the vibe. That's what they told us. So I will address the location on this one. Again, not a sponsorship, but it is at the Southern Cross. And that primarily has to do with, we knew that this event, based on the attendance feedback, we need something else.
We took it to a party venue because it's a party.
That's right.
Instead of being a banquet, I think.
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Schultz.
Tracy Shook, 1233 Black Cedar Hill, Texas, 75104. I attended the event last year, and I can tell you that I thought it was really nice, but what I experienced was a lot of the staff of the city attended it. They had a great time. We got to meet them. That's how I got to know several of the staff, and it seemed like to me it was a lift and just the morale. And so I thought it was a great event. And I thought it was nice I met the ladies that, and Rohit did, the ladies that sat at the entry and at City Hall. So I just thought it was a great event. It was not attended the attendance needs to definitely go way up. But it's nice to see people that you go and you're normally asking for a permit or something, and you see everybody kind of mingling together, and it was nice.
Okay. Any other speakings for or against this particular item?
I will mention some research I just recently did. Staff, historically, the DCEDC has viewed the chamber sponsorships as more of a marketing initiative rather than a true charitable donation. So just making note of that for our board members to rents. And if the board so wishes, we can make sure to either change the verbiage or designate these funding requests as such, as a marketing initiative from the DCEDC rather than just a community sponsorship.
Works for me. Okay. All right, so we'll close all of these public hearings, all 6 of them, at 7:50. That takes us to action items. Action item 5A, consider approval of resolution 2025-8-30, and that is for takeout burgers. So, the chair will entertain a motion. For or against?
I think so. I move that we table for discussion.
Okay. All right.
If you want to move into executive session now, or you want to just move to the
I would like
executive
to
session?
move into executive session now, thank you.
Okay, all right, so, we will move into executive session.
For clarity, items for A through F. For, specifically for items B through F.
Okay.
And this is executive session to discuss an economic incentive. That's the subsection under which we're making just further.
Okay, so that's what we need?
You can move it, you don't have to vote to go to executive session, you can move it to executive session.
Okay, we'll move it on to executive session at 7:52.
I did, I was saying on so when I saw it, I was like, what's he doing?
I bought some buffaloes for my son from Malbon Golf, and every time I see him from Marlin, I keep emailing.
Why do you keep emailing?
I don't want any more golf balls. But it's real funny when I get one from Ben and him back.
session at 9:22. I'm gonna ask the attorney to speak on, the ordinances that we went into executive session on.
For the record clear, we were in executive session under Texas Government Section 551071, consultation with attorney, 551072, deliberations about the purchase, exchange, lease or value of properties, and section 551082, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations.
Okay. So we're ready to take action?
Action items.
All right, action item, okay. We will begin, consider approval of resolution 2025-8-30. The chair will entertain.
I'm sorry, my iPad went sleep. Move for approval of resolution 8-, let's work on right. In the amount of a not to exceed amount of $3,800, contingent upon approval of all authorities having jurisdiction over a particular project.
All right, it has been moved by Mr. Broughton. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, seconded. Any other discussion? All right, can we have a vote?
Yes. Thompson?
Aye.
Savage?
Aye.
Abney?
Aye.
Broughton?
Aye.
Harvey?
Okay. Consider approval of resolution 2025-8-31. The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Ma'am.
I'd like to move that we approve resolution 2025-8-31 in the amount of, it's for a paving grant in the amount of $6,871.50.
Okay, the motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Let's go.
Thompson? Savage?
Aye.
Abney?
Aye.
Broughton?
Aye.
Harvey?
Okay. All right, consider approval of resolution 205-832, incentive agreement for Kim and Jenny's Cafe. Chair will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the incentive agreement for Kim and Jenny's Cafe, in the amount of $135,000, over 5 years to align with the lease.
Thank you. Moved by Ms. Savage, second.
I second.
Okay, seconded.
Alrighty. Broughton?
Aye.
Thompson?
Aye.
Savage?
Aye.
Abney?
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye. Okay. Okay, then at the point of resolution 2025-8-33, approving an incentive grant agreement with Ricky Fain for exterior property and infrastructure improvements. The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we take this item contingent upon receiving additional information and direction from the applicant and staff.
All right. So moved. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Ms. Abney.
Thompson?
Aye.
Savage?
Aye.
Abney?
Aye.
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye. Consider approval resolution 2025-8-34. And this is approving a sponsorship funding request to the Chamber of Commerce 9/11 Remembrance. The chair will entertain a
Point
motion.
of order. Mr. Chair, I believe that those actions required in this item relates to marketing.
Okay.
That's correct, President Harvey. No action is required on resolution 2025-834 and 2025-835. Both of the items fall under the category of marketing and are within the administrative threshold.
All right, no action taken.
Now we, number one. Citizens public forum.
Okay, so did we have anyone on the World Wide Web that wanted to say anything?
Yeah, I think during the public hearing portion, she made mention of the public comments received, and there were two. Both was from Urban, in support of the resolution for sign grant for takeout burgers, as well as the resolution for the incentive agreement for Kim and Jenny's. Those were the two public comments that were submitted in writing.
All right, so going back to the beginning, the next thing would be board member reports. Are there any board member reports? None? Okay. That takes us to director's report. And so, if there's a director's report, then we'll give you 2 minutes.
Given
But you don't get your
how
name
much
and
we
address for the record.
discussed, I will hold off on the director's report and provide you some updates on projects and reports via email. We could definitely discuss it at the next meeting if you'd like open. But in the spirit of time, we want to keep things moving along. I'll defer providing any updates at this time.
Very thoughtful, Mr. Director. We appreciate you. 6A? Oh, yeah. Briefings and presentations. Community special events application and approval process. Staff.
Hi everyone, so we are in the process of kind of reviewing and redoing / adding to our special events permit process with the city. So right now we're working kind of on the overview, the process in both internally as well as externally, from people having to apply, what they need to go through, kind of process, how easy do we make it for them, how much is available for them to see. We're kind of evaluating everything when it comes to that. We're looking at other cities to see kind of what their benchmark, what the benchmark is for our region when it comes to special costs, the process, the applications, all of those things to make sure we're kind of in line with people around us. We're also evaluating the current fee schedule. Right now it is just one cost of $100, regardless of how much external work or internal work on our end is needed. So whether there's road closures or it's an event that's large and takes multiple meetings, multiple interdepartmental meetings, those kinds of things we kind of look at where $100 doesn't really cover that. So how can we recoup, not the full cost, that's silly, we won't need to do that, but still kind of have something that's at least in a comparison of not leaving us as the city high and dry. We're also looking at what in the current ordinance we need to either amend or change, and then getting that before council. So right now the process is the application phase. They apply, every application is online. So they apply, they can upload their, any documents we need. So if they're having a road closure, they can upload a map so that we can see it. They can upload the copy of their insurance if it's at a venue that's our city venue. But everything can be uploaded there, so that way during the review phase, which is once it's submitted, I receive it, and then I send it out to the other departments so that they can take a look at it, review, ask any questions, say if any items are needed, anything like that. So the process can take anywhere from 7 to 21 days, which is why we request that people apply at least 14 days in advance, just because applying within 7 or even less, it doesn't leave us as a city room for any questions that need to be asked. So that can kind of lead to the denial of permits for people. It goes to the final decision phase. Once everybody has approved, once all the other departments have approved it, I am the final approval. So as long as I see that every other department has approved it, there's no more questions in line, then I can approve it. If it needs to be denied, I can deny it if there's things that need to be revised. So they can deny with the request of resubmission. And then in the executive phase, we're kind of sending out like our health inspectors, making sure that if they had a food truck, it was in compliance, it met, it still met all the requirements, as well as our parks crews going out and making sure that the event was cleaned up afterwards. This is reviewing over the multi-department review. It starts at Parks and Rec. They're making sure if any of their facilities are being used, that they were rented appropriately, their fees have been paid before they approve it. Police and fire assess the, are there any police needed? Just need to know, does fire need to be on site? Kind of going with our emergency management team of deciding how involved we as a city need to be when it comes to those things. Public Works reviews street closures. Do we need to block any roads? Is it as simple as putting up cones, or do we hard barricades? Do we need to be on site to have them actively moved, or can we just drop them and pick them up the next day? So it's things like that. The health inspector is making sure that if there's food trucks, that they know that they need to file a health inspection permit. If it is an active truck, then it needs to have the fire inspection, and all those things need to be done before the event. The final approval goes to the city manager's office. If there are any road closures or for larger events, those do need the city manager's approval. If they're smaller events and don't require street closure, then the city manager is not needed for that approval. It's just my final approval. I'm clearly your special events planner. After the event is approved, if it's a large event or things will be, streets will be closed, then we notify via the community and marketing team out either on our Facebook or wherever it needs to be to let the public know, hey, these roads will be shut down, or we'll have the roads closed from this time to this time, or just that the event is occurring in general. And then we do notify city council to make sure that they know, so that if the public asks them, they're aware of what's going on, they can say anything they need to. Approval timeline. So applications, once reported or once they're put in the system, then we are there to make sure all the documents got put in. Again, maps, road closure requests, site plans, if there's gonna be food trucks or anything like that, that those are submitted appropriately and within a certain, when they're applied. And then the staff, if they need to, they can send messages and ask for additional feedback and let them know if they're missing documents. So that's why the process can take anywhere from the 7 to 21 days. Because not everybody knows what they need to put, what they need to upload document-wise, so sometimes we do have to go back and forth and ask those things from them. And then multi-department review is triggered as soon as I put it in the system. I create a workflow. That workflow goes out to all the departments. So right now, the benefit of us kind of looking over everything is seeing like where there are potentially holes in our ordinance and holes in our application process. So we want to make sure that first and foremost, the city is covered at all times when the permit's approved. So we want to make sure that we know everything that is happening in our city, as well as they're clear on what we need from them. Right now, our permit is kind of a general permit, which is why there is sometimes a lot of back and forth between public works or health inspection about what things are needed. So that can kind of delay the process. So what we want to do is make sure that the new application, it's really definitely laid out of what exactly we need from them. If we need a site plan, what exactly that site plan is looking like, what we're looking for as a city, what we're looking for if you want the streets closed, what we're looking for when we ask you, can you send in your event plan, exactly what that looks like. We want to be as clear and precise on our end, so it kind of leaves less room for error. And we want to make sure that those things are lining up with exactly what's in our ordinance. So timeline, so right now between October and November, I've been researching the ordinance, the policy gaps, anything that's needed, any changes that need to be made between us as well as within the other departments, and looking at those other cities around us and looking at the kind of industry standards for this. So winter, between January and February, is where we'll present the draft ordinance and amendments and policy for the adoption for City Council, since they're the ones that need to approve or deny that. Thank you.
Well, I did have one question,
Yes, sir.
something you said. Did you say that the city takes some responsibility for setting out like the barricades and that's, okay, that's interesting. I know like in the city of Dallas, that's the cost of the event person. You usually have to go and sub that out from Dallas and barricade and set them up yourself or have them set it up for you. So is that a way for consideration to start recapturing some time and costs for the city?
Yeah, so right now that's not a practice here in Duncanville, but that is a practice that I would like to at least, even if it's our own department putting them out, but at least some kind of charging for them. The city that I came from, we charged for literally everything. So I'm trying to at least implement.
So I imagine that's overtime also like public works, so somebody put it out, right?
Yeah, right now, the only recaptures like public safety, like we're able to get them to pay for those sworn officers who have to be on duty. I mean, even for our own events, right, city-sponsored events, we have the labor cost. So certainly having something where we can recapture public works, any event related cost.
Yeah, so we're trying to, I mean, again, like I said, we won't be able to recoup all of the costs, but at least if it can go towards it, it won't put us as a city at such a loss.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you, sir.
Oh,
yes. Feel free. No, you're fine. Oh,
that takes us to item 7A. Discussing the presentation of the strategic plan staff.
Yes, and so it would be, try to be as quick as possible. Quick as possible, 2 minutes, no, 2 minutes, and so, I'm going to, represent it to some members, it might be a new presentation, but, a draft of the strategic plan was presented back to the board back in May. At the time, we were still dealing with vacancies, and we are now in a different position, and we thought that it's perfect time to revisit, the strategic plan and get your comments and move forward with the adoption of the strategic plan. So the strategic plan, why does having a strategic plan matter? Because it serves as a guiding framework for DCEDC priorities. It should align with the comprehensive plan. It establishes clear vision, mission, and goals. And it provides a roadmap for decision-making and resource allocation. This strategic plan will also help us in the future with the preparation of budgets and what we want to do, where we want to be, but we have to have that roadmap, if you will. Some key components of the draft plan. A draft again was included in your packet, which we are requesting your comments. If you'd be so kind enough to review that plan and provide us your comments in the next week, that would be great, because we intend to bring this back at the next regularly scheduled meeting for formal review and adoption. Some key components of the draft plan. A vision and a mission alignment. It should have economic development goals and objectives. It should have strategic initiatives and work plan. The work plan will be the work plan for government, so you will lay out the strategic plan or the roadmap, and we will be instructed to adhere to that, and that will be our quote-unquote marching orders for that year and the years to come. And then we will also, by having a very detailed strategic plan, we will be able to have performance metrics and evaluation. We talked earlier about having base points, performance, KPIs, and so forth. So a good strategic plan you'll be able to measure your progress. And more than anything, should be in alignment with the comprehensive plan. One of the reasons why we've held out on the rolling out of the strategic plan is that we wanted to be further along with the plan. The comprehensive plan is now in a state where it's that much closer to adoption. There will be some changes that will be made to the comprehensive plan, but nothing to the extent that we think that will have any impact, any set on our review of a strategic plan and ultimately adoption of the plan. Developing as I mentioned before, developing the strategic plan lays out the groundwork or the work plan for the Economic Development Department. It defines department priorities and responsibilities. It establishes timelines for the execution. It provides accountability and transparency, and it ensures efficient implementation of initiatives. And that's it. Maybe it took a little bit longer than 2 minutes, I apologize. But again, review the draft that we provided in your packet and get us your comments, so we will bring this back in 2 weeks for formal review and hopefully the adoption of the plan. That is all.
Any questions or comments for our director? Okay. I think that was the last agenda item.
Move for adjournment?
I'll accept that. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We're adjourned.
Yeah.
This is the next meeting you're up? For October?